Hello friends, my name is Theo, and today in this exciting Mr. Media tutorial, we'll be taking a look at how to create a Trapcode form type effect inside Fusion's Davinci Resolve for free. This is great for all of your sci-fi UI element stuff, and you can of course expand this off into the infinite horizon of possibilities that is your imagination. So here we've got an empty Fusion comp, and we will start by laying down a background node, and we'll make this white for now, and then we'll just drop down a little particle system, so p image emitter. And before we add the p-render, I'm just going to go ahead and bring this x and y density down, because right now we'd be making a little over 2 million particles. So we'll bring this down to like 0.1 by 0.1. And then we'll add down a p-render. And we'll view this. Now you can see we've got this nice little grid of particles. So already we're basically, full on Trapcode form mode. We've got this static grid of particles. And these emit at the beginning and they stay static the whole time, so it doesn't re-emit. You can change it to re-emit, which is cool too, but we're just going to be staying with this static field for now. So the first thing we'll do is just rotate this so it is laying flat. So X rotation 90, and that's looking pretty good. And now what we're going to want to do is make this cool wavy sort of like noise terrain effect. And we'll do that by adding down a pCustom node. And this is very cool. This is one of my favorite new toys inside Fusion. It's not a new toy, it's just I've just discovered it recently. And it's very neat. So this acts, if you're at all familiar with Houdini, it's sort of like a point vop in Houdini, which is nice. If you're not familiar with this, it basically just iterates over each point and applies something to it. So here we've got these number controls. They don't do anything for now, but they will eventually. We've got these X, Y, and Z controls. And then we've got setups and intermediates. And then these are our outputs. So setups are where you assign things like variables. So, maybe setup 1 will equal n1, which is number 1, times n2. Setup 2 will equal n3 divided by n4. And then an intermediate, you could take s1 divided by s2. And then you'd be good to go. So you access the intermediates by I and then their numbers. So this would be I1 that you'd access over here. This would be S1, S2, S3 you'd access. And then N1, N2, N3, N4. All sorts of good stuff. So we're not going to be using much of this stuff right now. Let's go ahead and clear this out. And you can see we've got our output. So we've got position Y. So if we change this from PY to something like 0.5, you can see all of our particles move up. If we change it to something like ID divided by 10, we probably need to divide this by like 1,000. You see we get these lines going up. That's because the particles, you access their ID here. So this would just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, all the way up and down. So that is super handy, but for now I'll change that to PY. And what we're going to want to do is drive this position based on a luminance map. So we're going to replace this background with a fast noise. So fast noise, make sure you use this fast noise, not the fast noise texture. So if you see your fast noise isn't connecting, make sure that you have the right one down. So plug this in, and you see right away, this changes our RGB values. So we get this nice noise texture. If you look over at our noise here, it's looking just like noise. So we'll go ahead and drop this color 1 down so there's no transparency. So that's looking good. And then we'll also increase the detail some and increase the contrast some, just for kicks and giggles. And you might think that this will end up clipping, but if you actually mouse over and you look down here, you can see they're actually getting sub-black and super white values. So, you don't have to worry about clipping. You can just make it as contrasty as you want. So now we'll go ahead and access these values in our pCustom. So you see that these are equal values for red, green, and blue. So we can just type in R here, and right away, now our Y value is based on our R value. So this will be -1-ish, and this will be +1-ish. And we can, of course, make this smaller by dividing it by 10. Or, since we're in our pCustom node, we can divide this by N1, and go over to N1, and we can scroll this up. And now you can see, nice and interactively, we get this cool scaling effect. So we're most of the way there. We also want to change this so that we aren't getting black and white. I mean, you can keep it like this, so you can change the colors around. And that could be cool too, but we want to change it so it's just all the way white. So we'll We'll go down to our red, green, and blue and just make this 1, 1, 1. And now it's just all the way white. And so there's some cooler stuff happening there. So you can play around with that on your own. Now just a couple more things to make this look a little nicer. You see as we scrub through, nothing really happens. And we can make something happen for, pretty cheap. We just turn our seed rate up. And that will make our noise animate. So now if we play through, you can see we get this nice animation, which is pretty cool. So now the one last thing we're going to do here to make it look cooler is go into our P image emitter and change these from points to n-gons. So point, n-gon. We'll make these little triangles because triangles are cool. So right now this looks pretty gross. We'll make this a solid n-gon and make this something like 3. So get little triangles. Then we'll go to our size controls and we'll bring the size way down. And we'll bring the size variance up just a bit. So we get some randomness there, which always makes things look a little bit nicer. So now that's the basic effect. I mean, you can stop watching the tutorial now if you want, but we're going to go ahead and make this look a little bit nicer. So we'll drop down to Merge 3D, Merge 3D, and a Camera 3D. And now if we view this merge, you can see we've got our little scene here. So let's select our camera and bring it back. And we'll add a quick little render 3D. And we'll view that. So now we can move our camera around just however we want. So bring it up some and back a little bit. And I'll go to frame 0 and we'll add a little keyframe on our camera, specifically on the Z offset. So there's that. And then go to the end and just move it forward a bit. And you can see that our particles have disappeared at the end. So we need to fix that by going to our P image emitter and changing our life to something like 1000, just so they stay on. And now we'll render array. And now we get this nice little animation for our camera. Cool. That works. Now we're going to add some depth of field to make this look even more fun. And you can do a whole Z channel thing if you want to, but that's really annoying. I'm just going to switch to the OpenGL render, which allows accumulation effects. So you see that also brightens up these guys, which I'm not super sure why that is, but I wanted it to happen anyway. So there you go. Now we'll turn on accumulation effects and enable these. And we've got depth of field. You see right now this is pretty crazy looking. But if we go to our camera and we bring our focal plane probably back, you see we start to get areas that are more and more in focus. So try that for now. We'll go ahead and turn our amount down to like 0.05. And we'll bring our quality up so it looks a little bit nicer. 10, maybe we'll go to something like 30. I think that works for me. So now you get this nice depth of field effect here, which is way easier than having to deal with the weird Z channel workflow that Fusion wants you to do. So now I've got that. Now we can just go ahead and add the few other little effects that'll make this even more fun. So Control Space, we'll add a background behind it and view this, and Control T to switch our inputs. Nice, already looking a lot better. Add some soft glow. And we'll bring our threshold up. And we'll add another one. And we'll bring our threshold up again. And we'll bring our glow size way out. Bring the gain down. And we'll add some blue scale here. There's a little bit of interest going on. There you go. That looks nice. We get a little more of cool stuff happening here. And then we will add in just some stock. So here's a piece of footage from the Mr. Media Atmospheres pack, which you can find on mrmedia.com/products. And we'll trim this in. There's a free version that's 720. So, go ahead and check that out. So there you go. Got a nice little light leak thing coming in there. Got particles. We got smoke. All cool stuff. So we'll merge these two together. And we'll view this and we'll change it to screen. And that's looking pretty nice. And we'll add some more blurs just for fun. So blur. And make this real big. And we'll merge it back together. And we'll set it to screen. And we'll bring the blend down just a bit. And then we'll do the same thing again. So add another blur. Make this one even more ridiculous. So make it like 300. Yeah. And merge it back together. Set it to screen. And bring the blend down some. And now we'll add a quick little curves. And we'll make this a lot darker. So bring that to about there. Bring that down some. That's looking pretty nice. And we'll go ahead and make this like it's 2011 and screw up our blues some. So bring this down even more. Bring this one up just a bit. And I think that's looking pretty fun. I could probably bring this first glow down a little bit some. So bring this gain back. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit nicer. A little bit less clippy. But there you go. Now you get this fun Trapcode form effect that you can put in any of your sci-fi projects or, anything that just needs something that looks technically. You can, of course, scale your noise now. This is all procedural. You can even do other stuff like add text in and stuff. So first of all, bring our scale up, maybe something like 5. And you can see as that propagates, I really like these little loading bars. I think it's a lot of fun to see where the processes are. Boop, boop, boop. See that? That's goofy. Didn't like that with our scale. Maybe if we bring this down to 1, that'll be cool. There we go. That's nice. Look at that. Beautiful. Then, of course, you can do things like drop down a text or whatever you want, and we'll merge these two together. Oops, that's a 3D text. Don't want that. Text plus Theo with a J, because why the heck not? Sometimes you just can't type. And we'll drop in a little blur in between those. And now if we view this from the top, we'll go to our merge. Let's see, we probably need to switch these inputs, so I'll just scale this way up. There you go. Now you can see we're getting some stuff there. We'll change this merge to different. And now if we view our merge 3D, you see we get this cool text going on here. Our blur is probably a little bit too high. So we'll change our box blur to like 0.1. That's not enough. But now you can see we get a cool little effect there that I'm sure you could use for all sorts of good stuff. This 0.2, maybe that'll be a little better. Yeah. So that's pretty neat. There we go. I kind of like this. You can see the C down there. There's not C, E, O. I don't know. It looks cool. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. I had a lot of fun making it. I like stuff like this. It's nice to trick people into learning about the pCustom tool, because this can seem a little intimidating at first, because like, what's going on? But really, some smarter people than me are going to make some really cool stuff with this. I can already tell. I'm pretty excited about it. So I'll have some play around with that, see what we can make up. If you liked this tutorial, be sure to give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. No matter what happens, be sure to leave your feelings down in the comments below. Tell me what sort of other tutorials you'd like to see. If you've got any good examples, send them over. I like to see other people's work and then try and copy it and steal their artisticness, because, you know, we can't all be as good as the people on Vimeo staff picks. Also, if you want some cool stuff, or if you just want to help support the channel, go over to meestermedia.com/products. You can find the Atmospheres pack there. There's a free version and there's a paid version. There's also some cool LUTs and other stuff. That always makes things fun. There's the Lens Junk pack is especially good for stuff like this. That's what I designed that in the Atmospheres for, is for these motion graphics things that just need a little bit more organicness. Because I feel like this looks, pretty reasonably organic with the depth of field and the smoke and all the blurs. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Once again, I'm Theo with Theo Media. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.